Hello once again. I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Talk, and welcome to this special broadcast on behalf of Australian Property Investor Magazine. There's a little community in regional South Australia that's called Paralowie. It's a total population of about 18,000, and the going is tough. Housing is affordable, but it could be argued that many in the town don't think they can actually afford to buy a house there. There are some exceptions, of course, and you can read about two of those exceptions in the December issue of API Magazine, an article that's called True Romance. The story of Johnny and Hannah, who grew up together and have formed a formidable partnership that's seen them put together a property portfolio that would be the envy of many a seasoned investor. Joining me on screen now, one half of that combination, none other than Johnny Acciarresi. John, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, mate.
That's a pleasure. How did it all start, this fascination with property?
I guess it's when me and Hannah got together, we just figured basically the life we see is not sort of the life we want to live. So we figured we had to get stuff going which would make our lives better, and we found that property is a really good way to make that happen.
Yeah, it's being raised in a community like the one that I described in the intro there, where people are struggling. Has that helped you, or did that hinder you?
I guess it's sort of motivation to not sort of end up like that, so to say. It's you don't have the mentors and stuff around, but you see a lot of things, and it just makes you not want to be like that.
Yeah, it's a great read in API Magazine. It's good that you both gave so much of that information too. Tell me, what did your friends and family think about what you were doing?
I guess I was sort of surprised. Obviously, we don't know too many people, or any people for that fact, that are doing what we're doing. So it came as a pretty big surprise when they found out how quickly we were growing and stuff like that. So yeah, basically surprise is the best way to describe it.
And what were they saying to you? Things like, oh yeah, don't do this, it's not going to last, be careful, caution.
Yeah, definitely those things we heard quite a bit, just don't go too fast, you don't want to go fast. A lot of the things you hear are the negative things, but yeah, you just got to push through them and not really listen to that.
Being a combination, the two of you, and you're bouncing off each other from a very young age is what I can understand, as well as bouncing a ball around the room there. But you obviously fire each other up. You motivate each other?
That's it. Like we have very, very similar goals, ones that are pretty hard to hit. So you've got to motivate each other to make sure you're doing the things to get there.
Has it been important for you, do you think, to surround yourself with people who've got similar thoughts to you?
Well, we don't really have that too much. We basically just got it with each other, bar a few other people. But yeah, definitely, I'd love to sort of have more people around me that are doing the same thing. You can work out different strategies, get different ideas and stuff, and it's good to be able to communicate the positive things about property with other people. But yeah, we can't find that too much,
Is learning online been good for you?
Yeah, that's been massive for us. That's obviously there's so many things you can read online. So it's been a massive part to getting us to where we are.
Johnny, what's been your best investment so far?
So a recent purchase, we purchased four properties that are next to each other in a suburb called Elizabeth North. It's on a total of about 2,800 square meters, and subdivision and stuff is pretty lenient within that suburb. So we're going to be able to put 5 properties at the back of that. So going to make a pretty good profit once all that development's done. So I'd consider that to by far be the best. It's cash flow positive. Even while the builds are happening, we probably won't have to put any cash forward for that.
Are you and Hannah project managing that one yourselves?
No, we're not. We've got a project manager who manages those 4.
Yeah. Tell me, what's been the property that taught you most about what not to do?
Each one we've bought has shaped up our strategy to get it to where it is. But I guess when we done our Manapara West house, we just bought land and then built a house on it. We basically saw that as that we've limited what we can do out of that. You get your tax benefits and stuff like that, but there's very minimal improvements you can do with that. So it's basically we bank on capital growth for that to make profit now, instead of being able to do the things to create that ourselves.
So do you look for properties that have a bit of a twist to them, something that where you can add some value? Is that how you're building your wealth?
Yeah, you've got to figure out ways to do things that other people won't. Otherwise, those deals won't be there. So we understand a lot of people aren't too keen on putting in too much work and those sorts of things. They just expect the wealth to come to them. But where we're happy to purchase properties, we're gonna that are slightly risky, and we're gonna have to work towards. But we know we'll make a profit off them.
If you were starting out again, is there anything that you and Hannah would do differently?
Yeah, so our second purchase was that Manapara West one. We had to put a fair bit more than we'd expect into that build. So if I could go back, I would basically just do two lots of our Salisbury North property. That's gonna work out really good for us. So if I could go back, I would have just, obviously you can't find the exact same property, but found two other properties just like that, and we would be in a better position because it did take quite a while for the build to be done and stuff. By the time that took place, the subdivision would have been done. We would have had a bit more equity to work with. But yeah, what's happened's happened. It's shaped us to where we are. So no regrets really.
Good on you. What advice have you got for anyone wanting to start out and do what you've done?
Yeah, basically just don't listen to the skepticism. A lot of people will tell you you can't do it and those sorts of things. You've just got to do your research and understand that it's very possible. And if you get online, you can find so many people who are doing it, and just use them as inspiration instead of the negative people around you. It's such an easy thing to do if you just realize it is easy instead of thinking it's bad. That's what most people do wrong. They just expect it to be so much harder than it is, and you just can't do that.
Great lesson from a young person. You got pretty mature head on your shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, I did mature pretty. Oh, at about 18 to 21, yeah, my mind changed quite a fair bit. So I am where I am now. Pretty happy to be here.
Good on you, Johnny. Well, listen, all the best to you and Hannah. Thank you for sharing that experience with us. A great read in the Australian Property Investor Magazine December issue. Thank you so much for your time, Johnny. All the best.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me.